This tutorial explains the basic concept of flexible layouts and responsive design. Responsive layouts are those that change the size and position of various UI elements proportional to the screen size. Flex models are based on parent-child relationships. A flex container or parent expands the size of its children to fill up its available space. A flex container must specify a flex direction property. The children can be laid out in horizontal rows or vertical columns. The main axis of a flex container is the axis along which the flex children are laid out. The picture here shows the main axis for a parent that has flex direction as row. The axis perpendicular to the main axis is the cross axis. Once you decide the direction, the next task is to decide how to distribute free space among the children. That property is called justify content. Flex start for justify content packs the children towards the start line. Flex end does the reverse. Justify content center places all the children along a centered line. The third decision is to figure out how to align the children in the cross axis. Here is an example. Align items center lines the children such that a center line passes through the center of all the children. Last but not the least, we want to introduce the concept of flex grow. It defines the ability for a child to grow if necessary. It accepts a unitless value which serves as a proportion of leftover space that should be given to that child compared to the other children that also have the flex grow property set. Let's take these concepts now and use them to build our calculator app. The layout selected for the calculator app screen is a column layout with just 2 items. The top item is the textual calculation area, and the bottom item is the buttons area. The buttons area is always fixed size, so we will set the extra area to grow and take up the rest of the screen. Just like in CSS, Aptivate also provides the capability to define display classes, which allows you to reuse display properties across components. To add or modify display classes, simply go to the library and select the type of component you want to use. For the calculator app, we're going to set up a display class for containers to center the items within. Let's set the justify content and the align items properties to center. As we insert the first container for the text area on the substrate surface, we select the grow1 display class, which sets it up to be a flex grow container. Now we add the second buttons area container below. We can think of the buttons area container to be 5 rows of 4 buttons each. Let's go ahead and insert the first row. Inside this row will be 4 containers, 1 for each button. These containers all have the flex grow on display class. Now we will insert a button in the button container and choose its display class, which sets its border radius to make it a rounded button. Let's go ahead and set a centered class on this button and then insert a text component for the number text. Now we can use the copy-paste shortcuts on the keyboard to make 4 copies of this button in the row container. Then we make 5 copies of this row in the buttons area. We are now ready to go ahead and change the text on all the buttons. Notice that the last row has only 3 buttons, and we want to make the 0 button double its size. So let's change the button container to be 50% the weight of the container. We will also set it to be a row, and the 0 button inside it is set to flex grow 1. We don't like the divide and multiplication characters from the keyboard. We will delete the text element from the multiplication button and add an icon symbol instead. I think we found the closest icon to match. It looks good, so let's go ahead and choose that icon. We did not find a good icon for division operation. We have an image file for that. So let's go back into the library and import that image into our assets folder. Now we insert an image component in the button and use it as an asset. Let's use the asset we just added. Now we will add the text component to the text area. Let's go ahead and set that text area container with justify and align properties to flex end. And there we have it, folks. Our calculator app layout is ready for use.